I'm really surprised. Oh, okay.
There we go.
Hello.
So, hello, Nikki. Guys, so I brought Nikki on today. Nikki will give us her full exact title, but she is very deep within NPC when it comes to judging. She's a national level competitor within Bikini, and I wanted to bring her in to give you guys access to the thought processes that go on for the judges. A lot of times competitors have questions on, what's really going on, what's really being judged, what things they can do to create like a good spotlight for themselves going forward and things like that. So, Nikki, before we get into all that, just give us your title and just a little bit like how you worked your way into like this world, because it's not like anybody can just go and do what you do out of nowhere.
Well, thank you, Pat. So my title is NPC head judge, and I'm also an NPC promoter of the Aries Nutrition PA and Muscle. I basically got started all of this by competing back in 2016, and 2017 I started spray tanning with Olympia Tan, and being backstage and helping out little by little with trophies, expediting, and just being so hands-on. um, Gary Udit, my business partner with the PA Muscle, noticed this, and so did my spray tanning boss, Mike Camdar. And they took me on as a business partner in putting on a show.
Okay.
And right after that, I wanted to be more hands-on, and I started judging and worked my way up to head judging.
So, are you judge local shows? Do you judge any Ifbb pro shows yet, or not yet?
Yeah, so last year I judged my first pro show in Baltimore, IFBB Pro Show. The promoter of that is Rich Siegelman. And yeah, this is going to sound crazy, but actually judging pro shows is a lot easier than judging NPC shows. And I hope to judge more pro shows because it not only is it easier, but it's very motivating to judge pro shows.
Is it because everybody's in shape?
Everybody is in shape. Every single person is in shape. And there is just certain people that stand out that just fit the criteria, whether it's bodybuilding, wellness, bikini, whatever it is. They have that look that is what the standard is for that division.
Gotcha. Understand. So, you're basically you that's pretty big achievement when it comes to that aspect. Now, a lot of competitors get into the whole sport and stuff like that. What would you say like some of the tips are there for them when it comes to, like what they should be doing? Like, should they make sure they always wait to see the judges afterwards? Um, like just little things, just because I think a lot of people overlook certain things and don't really take into consideration and just kind of feel like, well, if I look good, I'll just get on stage and I
Yeah.
win, and that's all it is.
I think for any competitor, whether you're brand new to the sport or you are experienced, I think it's very important to not only go to the head judge, but go to the other judges. So, right after the show, I would say after finals, after you got your placing, go to the head judge and the other judges and see and get your feedback. Because a lot of people, even though you can email us and reach out and we will give you honest feedback, when you have us right there in person and seeing who you're compared to and why maybe you got second, third, fourth, or fifth, it's a lot easier for us to describe, okay, well, you, for like bikini, you had, great shoulders, but you had smaller glutes, and this is why this girl beat you, or vice versa. So when you, I think for anybody, it's great to come right to us, talk to us. It also shows us that you are interested in the sport, that you want to be better, whether your feedback is to come in leaner, to grow, to target a certain body part, fix your posing. We want to see that you're interested and that you're invested in this. So the next time you do step on stage, like, wow, they actually took our
Yeah.
feedback and remembered us. Because I will never forget, there was a girl that I judged in the beginning of this year. And I specifically told her that she was too lean, that she needed to basically just take a break and grow. She was too small. And no joke, did I see her 3 weeks later come back and do this another show. And I'm like, what happened? Why didn't you take my advice? Like, I'm only trying to help you. And she did not want to listen. And she actually did worse at the next show because she came in even tinier than before.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take our feedback, go to work with it. Listen to us. We want to help you. So.
Got it. Understand.
Yeah.
Understand. Is it hard? Is it stressful judging? Like, do you ever fall into like, everybody's pretty much, they understand their placing and stuff like that. But have you ever had any situations where maybe a placement of wherever somebody landed might have been maybe caused a scene or acted up?
I
And
have.
and that's without naming shows or anything like that. So it doesn't.
Yeah, I won't name shows. I won't name competitors. I have had issues with that before. There's been times where people are upset with the placing that they have. They don't understand why, and I try to explain to them in the best way as possible to really break down the reasoning. And some people just don't want to hear it, and there's not much I could do. There's other people that will fully understand and take the, like I said, take the feedback and go back to work. It becomes stressful, honestly, when you're head judging and you have two people that fit the criteria of that division, and it's so close, and it comes down to such small detail of, for girls, is the hair and makeup. For guys, is it the tan with the color of their trunks, their overall look? It comes down to really small details when it comes to, when it's so close. That's when it becomes stressful. And like I said, at the pro division, it's so easy because what they're looking like. It's right in front of you. With the amateurs, you're almost like nitpicking these little things. And the most stressful situation I ever had, I'll never forget this, at this one show, we were deciding the overall winner for bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And in the crowd, I heard someone made a comment on the overall winner, the choice. And I actually got on the mic and told that person in so many words, like, please stop the comments. This winner was chosen for a reason. Because when the audience gets involved like that, they're putting down the athletes and they're putting down the judges' decisions. So the judges are there scoring. We want to make the show as fair as possible. And you're not helping the athletes by saying these critiques in the audience. If we could hear you, they could hear you. So you want to put on the best show for them. This is their moment to.
Yeah.
So it's the only time it's ever become like super stressful.
Did the person shut up or did they keep going?
They finally shut up, and I was like, the MC made a comment into it. They were like, well, we know your judge is from New Jersey. So
oh, gotcha.
I had to tell them, like, you gotta keep quiet. Like, I think a lot of head judges would have just let it slide. But I wanted the audience and the athletes to know, like, this is why this winner was chosen. They deserved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough, man, because sometimes people have a lot of people that come to see them. Sometimes it could just be one person. So the crowd can be overwhelming, which is fine. They could be overwhelming in a positive way, but if they don't like something, and because listen, if 10 people come, they're going to see that person as the winner no matter what.
Always.
So if they're not happy with it, it could kind of lead in the wrong way. Next thing you need is a big fight.
Yeah, I don't want that. No. Thank you.
Now, when it comes to other divisions, which one would you say is the hardest to judge?
The bikini.
Yeah.
Bikini is hard. Bikini is a fine line between conditioning, symmetry, an overall look, and all. Even though right now the standard for Miss Bikini Olympia is Jandori, not everybody looks like Jandori.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to sit there and decipher who has the best bikini look. Even though I do bikini, I still find it at times very difficult, and I critique myself way too much and too hard on myself. And I'm like, if I'm critiquing these girls a certain way, I got to be able to critique myself the
Yeah.
same way. So bikini is a tough one.
Whenever I see bikini go up, I just see the difference of who has different hair.
They all
And
have blue.
yeah, if somebody has a different hair than a regular blonde, straight, long, then I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, they stand out a little bit more. So,
Yeah, me and Nelly both have curly hair.
mhm. So that helps a lot. It's funny because I made Nelly have her hair when she did her first bikini show. I made her do her keep her hair curly, and she was the only
Mhm.
one on stage with curly hair. So she
Yeah,
grabbed the attention, and that was a massive Northeastern show. Listen, that show had 600 competitors.
I believe it.
This was oh my god, maybe 5 years ago,
And
six.
you don't see shows like that anymore.
No, this was a while ago, and the bikini was of course gigantic, and yeah,
Yeah.
it was funny because it was like fucking so many. It's like the curly hair, and wow, that one's in shape. So yeah, I would say there's no way I could ever judge bikini. Um, but I think do you feel like a lot of certain classes change? I mean, for example, the men's physique is a lot different now than it was before. Like, do you think it
Oh,
would
yeah.
make sense to have like a weight cap on there? Because these guys are fucking gigantic now.
A weight cap on men's physique.
Yeah.
The only reason why I say no is because you already have two men's divisions that have a weight cap on it.
Hmm.
And I find that guys are having a hard time with the classic physique criteria, not criteria, the requirements when it comes to their height and weight.
Hmm.
So I feel like with men's physique, they kind of have that opportunity to, like bikini and wellness, like not worry so much about making weight, because with men's physique, it's not so much how ginormous you are.
Hmm.
It's more of like you want that aesthetically pleasing
Yeah.
you look. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you weigh on stage. You got to have a look. Same thing with bikini and wellness. You got to have a look. These guys are getting bigger and bigger in men's physique. But if they can come in shredded and not be as big as classic, they're doing their job.
The reason I bring that up is, especially in a lot of the past year, 2 years, the pro shows for physique,
Mhm.
um, majority of the winners are tall, and tall guys are gigantic.
Yes.
And in my opinion, I think if they stood next to a classic physique guy, they'd probably overpower them if you go waist up and kind of look at it that way. So
Yeah.
then you have, let's say you have Jeremy Bundia, right? Who won
Mhm.
several times. He's short. Do you think Jeremy Bundia could ever beat like the top three guys who are 5'4" taller than him and another 50 pounds on top, and they're shredded, and the shape is there, and the muscles are round? You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? So when you put that on stage, that kind of generates a wow factor to the
it does.
guy.
Um, I don't know. It will be interesting because Brandon, who's our current men's
Hmm.
physique champ, he's not that tall. He's on the shorter side as well. Um, I don't know. Like if you put him next to like Terrence, who's
Hmm.
on the shorter side, I think it would be interesting to see like size wise, like you said, waist up, to see how they line up, because they're both on the shorter side. But if you have somebody on the taller side, like Aaron Banks
Hmm.
or Chiron, and I will say this, I spray tanned and met Chiron back in 2018 and 2019. He barely fit in my spray tanning tent. Like he is men's physique and he's ginormous. He's a big guy. Um, they are getting big. It would be I would love to see Chiron next to like a Terrence, to see how big they actually are waist up comparably. That would be interesting to really say. I don't know. I think they'd be close.
Yeah, it's definitely a division that's been changing a lot. Now, the other one too is wellness, right?
Mhm.
Is the American wellness judging criteria a little bit different to basically the wellness motherland of Brazil?
The motherland. No, the judging is not different. The judging is exactly the same. The criteria is exactly the same. everything's the same across the board. Brazil just happens to have a, how do I say this? They have a better look for wellness. So right now, our champion, Francielle, she is Brazilian, I believe, and she has that literally that perfect wellness look. And I don't think any of the top five Olympians off the top of my head are from America. I don't think they are.
Oh, you're reaching up Puerto Rico.
Which is Puerto Rico. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's and she's a rarity right now because they're all from overseas, and the judging is the same across the judging is exactly the same. I think in Brazil it's actually a lot harder. I think they have that look that's where that wellness look came from, was from there. It got tested out in Brazil and then
Mhm.
came over here.
But do you think here there's a bigger push on conditioning versus the way they push in Brazil? Because for example, like Sunny, her last
Yeah.
show, like what the fucking insane how
Mhm.
conditioned that was, like beyond.
Yeah.
That was like beyond.
Was that the Pit Pro that she won?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't like, has there everybody like, if that shows up in Brazil, for example, that level of conditioning, would
Hmm.
that win over what else what's winning in Brazil? You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it's they've like, to when I seen it, I was like, they're not gonna win. There's way too conditioning. It's just too much.
Yeah.
And she won.
Conditioning is definitely taken into a huge account into all the categories, all the divisions. Um, if she brought that level to Brazil, at that point, it would be a matter of Brazil's a lot bigger. So are the other girls in Brazil coming in size, just coming in with size and that same conditioning? Because if they're coming in the same size as her, but not as conditioned as her, she would win in Brazil as well. When she has a great look to her as well. If she she's changed a lot. I remember meeting her years ago at nationals, actually, when she won her pro card. She comes in harder and harder every single show. And I think with that conditioning, she's only going to get better, honestly.
Does the- does does NPC have any type of, already been looking at any type of stance when it comes to, especially now with the growth of OnlyFans? Because say for example, like, so she fell into that category, and there's many others who are now falling into that category. Do
Yeah.
they fall? Do they have like a certain stance on that, or is it kind of like that's your personal life, and even though it may fall into pornographic, it's still your personal life?
They feel like it's your personal life. Like whatever you bring to the stage is what you bring to the stage. That's what they're judging you on. And the same thing that, a lot of people always, I've heard new competitors say this to me. Um, they're not ready to compete yet because they don't have a big enough following on Instagram. And it bothers me when I hear that because, especially as a head judge, when I'm judging you in the moment, there's no way I have time to go look you up on Instagram to see how many followers you are, nor does that even matter.
Yeah,
I'm judging based on what you're putting in front of me, the
yeah,
best physique. So, whatever your personal life is, social media, whatever, that's on you. They
yeah.
don't care what that has to do with the sport.
So let me ask, what about if we look at it this way? Let's say if we have, I'm talking, and this could be any class. We have somebody that's about to win the Mr. Olympia or the Arnold, right? Or
Yeah.
Mrs., right? Um, and there's, but they're known to have a very massive OnlyFans. Now, would that be like an issue when it comes to that individual being the face to represent? Like, you
Uh,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah. When it comes to that title of Mr. or
So
Miss,
so so, and here's why. Here's for example, like so, Kai Greene was always very close to beating Phil, and I think 1 or 2 years he basically was just like right there where it could have been him.
Yeah.
but he had a history when he was in his younger life where he,
Yes.
like that way.
Hmm.
And even though it's never been said that that plays a big part, but it's always been brought up on like the big platforms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Um, when it comes to that title, um, I don't really know. I think that the safer bet would be not to have an OnlyFans when you're at that level, especially when you're at that level too. Um, you just don't want that kind of publicity to come with it.
Yeah.
So like all the champions right now, you have Big Ramy, Jen Dore, Francielle, all these great people, Sebum, they don't have OnlyFans.
No, no.
They none of them do. And they're representing the sport. They're ambassadors for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they want a good they at the end of the day, you want a good ambassador for that division.
Yeah.
You want someone that's going to represent not only the criteria, but the NPC IFBB as a whole in itself. So having that OnlyFans, I don't think would be the best thing to do. But um, if I had to make a guess on it, I would say your best bet would be not to have one.
And that I would have guessed that the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
thing. um, so okay, so that puts it on that aspect.
Mhm.
Now, when it comes to the shows, because like you said, the attendance and how many people compete has changed significantly. I assume it's similar to the pro stage.
Yes.
Has NPC figured out what the trend could possibly, what it could be driving the massive decline?
So right now, this whole year, there have been with very very few select shows. Thankfully, PA Muscle being one of them, there was a decline in almost every single NPC show and pro show since the beginning of this year. They're thinking it has something to do with the economy, with literally everything being so expensive from travel, hotel, just everything in general going up. I also think that there's just a lot of shows too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just in, our tri-state area, we have so many shows.
Almost every week.
It literally, I feel like I'm at a show every weekend. And, even though it's towards the end of the year, there's still 10 more shows on the schedule just in, Gary Udit's zone.
Mm-hmm.
And, then it's nationals. There's always a show. And there's many weekends where we come into the problem where there's multiple shows on a weekend. So
Yeah.
like for the PM Muscle, there was Jay Cutler's show as well.
Mm-hmm.
So even though there's like distance between them, there's still so many shows.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think that could be a reason also. I also think me and Gary have talked about this. It goes in waves. There's going to be years where it goes down and then out of nowhere, just boom, it comes back. So I think right now it's just, it's riding the wave right now.
Do you think social media could play into a part? So for example, in the 90s, right? All the big time pros and so forth did like 6, 7, 5 shows a year, right? They were just like nonstop. Um, on the amateur side, the national shows were just so stacked. It was like insane. Do you think because during that time the only way to really get acknowledged, to get your name out, was to do shows, while now you can technically do one show and you can build a fitness acknowledgement from social media where you don't have to compete so much?
Um, I think it really depends what your end goal is. So like when I first started out, when I hit that stage, I knew this was for me. Like whether it took me 5 years, 10 years, whatever it was to turn pro, like I knew I wanted to be on that stage. And I was doing show after show after show to the point where the judges did know who I was after
Mm-hmm.
a while. Um, but that's because I loved competing and I still do. I think nowadays with social media, if you do one show and your Instagram explodes from it, people think, okay, well, I'm good to go. Like I got what I wanted. Like I did my stage time, I look good, and now I have a following. So maybe social media does have a play in it. I think people care too much about social media these days instead of instead of focusing on getting back to the stage, back to a look, focusing on yourself and the show, they're focused on social media.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to. I mean, generally when the money that centers around for people that could make is
I know.
centered, you know what I mean? Especially nowadays, you could majority of the companies that give a lot of companies that give money out, they're giving out money to those who are doing something relevant on social media. And
It's social media, I think social media has its pros and cons for sure. I think it really can help athletes who do have a following, obviously help them with shows, and whether it be a supplement company, a clothing company, helping them out in some sort of way, because we know competing is expensive.
mhm,
So all the help you can get is definitely beneficial, but I think people let it take over where, like we said before, they'll focus on making a video in the gym of them working out, and they're so focused on that rather than actually like the workout itself.
yeah,
You
which yeah,
know? So I think that's where it has its con, but I think social media may have affected the NPC a little bit when it comes to shows. I think it definitely I can see it definitely having an effect on it in the sense that, okay, I did a show, now I can have some followers. Maybe now that, I'll tag some judges in here, I'll tag some people. They'll know who I am.
yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. So let's see if we can help out people with some tips, right?
Okay.
So let's, oh, you know what, colors, right? Colors for bikinis and like the men's trunks and stuff. What
Okay.
colors are like, don't ever fucking put on? And what colors are like, yeah, that you should try those out?
Oh boy. Okay. Um, so for bikini, um, I suggest staying away from white,
Mm-hmm.
black,
Mm-hmm.
and yellow. Those are three colors I would stay away from. There are very, very, very few people who can pull them off. Um, Obviously, even though she's not bikini, Yarishna can pull off yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Back in the day, India Polino was able to pull off black, and I don't even know one competitor that could pull off white. But all those girls now have changed to the basic blues or purples
Mm-hmm.
for bikini or wellness. Your safe bet for them is blue, purple, or greens and reds. It's a deep tones. Deep tones is basically what you want to go for in those categories.
Okay.
Um, what was your men's
Me-
physique?
Men's bodybuilding and then men's physique.
So men's bodybuilding that really goes with this is going to sound really crazy, but it really goes with the your tones when you get tan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I know that may sound a little bit weird because like everybody gets tan, so everyone should look the same, but you
They
really don't
don't. No, they
get
don't. Mm.
that, And so like I think that your safe bet for men, safest usually is a dark blue or black if you want to play it safe. Like some guys will play with greens, reds. Reds you have to be really careful of because your tan has some shades of red in it.
Yeah.
Um, but if you want to play it safe, you usually like a dark blue or black.
Gotcha.
Men's physique, that's a real tough one too. Men's physique is all about what you could pull off, but I've noticed that even like when I'm judging, I've noticed that these guys who come in with it's almost like they have somewhere in there there's stripes.
Mm-hmm.
What it's on one pant leg at the bottom or at the top or like on the side or something. When they have like that just random stripe in there, there's something that draws attention to that. And it just sometimes it makes their physique stand out a little bit more. Um, but with men's physique, I would stay away from another color is white.
Mm-hmm.
When the top of the trunks are white, that really gets to me because usually the tan soaks into
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
So stay away from that color.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good tip.
Mhm.
Um, any other tips you could think of that people aren't really like aware of, possibly?
For bikini, I notice this a lot, and when I give feedback, I always end up copying and pasting this one thing. Um, the girls that wear dangly earrings, right? The long straight ones.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be careful how long they are because some girls will have these long dangly earrings so long where it touches the connector and now it looks like your ear is connected to this whole thing. So girls need to have girls can have long earrings, just make sure they're not literally touching the connector because it looks so awkward on stage when this is one whole big piece.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just that is if I can give one piece of advice out for bikini or wellness, that would be my biggest thing.
I remember the facial hair isn't a problem anymore when it comes to bodybuilding at all, right? Now,
No.
was it before? Because I remember when I first started competing, it was like people were telling me you have to make sure your face is shaved and whatever.
Um, I think so. I think that a lot of judges do like a cleaner look.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do. If you can pull off that beard or a mustache, like a C-bum
Mm-hmm.
mustache, go for it. I think it has to fit your look.
Right, right.
Um, Obviously, like right now, Big Ramy is not going to be wearing a beard on stage. It doesn't fit him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a C-bum and can pull off that mustache, by all means, do it. Like that's your signature look. Um, there was actually a guy at the PM Muscle. I don't know if you remember him. He had a C-bum mustache,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I thought it worked so well for him. He was men's physique, and it worked really well for him. And then I saw him at North Americans, and it was gone. And I was like, where did it go? And he's like, everyone told me to shave it. And I'm like,
Oh
no,
my God.
you rocked. You were so good with that mustache. You need to bring it back. Like he was so good with it. So hopefully he does for his next show. But if you can pull off that look, facial hair, go for it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, that's a lot of good tips, for sure. What's the next shows you have to judge? You're coming up on.
So I am judging Big Cat. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
head judging that, which is I think it's October 1st or 2nd. I forget. It's
Yeah,
next.
next Saturday.
Yep. And then after that, head judging the Harrisburg show. And then I can't remember after that because that's in November right now. But those are the next two that I'm head judging.
You doing the national show this year too, or no?
I'm trying to compete at nationals this year.
Got it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Got it. And then
Yeah.
any pro shows for you coming up that you need to judge?
Oh, actually, just talked to Gary about this. I might be judging that the Masters show coming up in Baltimore. I don't know if I'm judging it or not because we had one of the judges, as you know, recently pass away. So if that spot's not filled, I'll be taking that spot.
Gotcha. All right. So it's pretty hectic, busy schedule for you.
Yes, and if I'm not judging, I'm spray tanning.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I'm constantly doing a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, here's another one. When it comes to tanning,
Yes.
should people just fucking just invest always and just get
Yeah.
it done instead of doing their own shit in their hotel rooms?
Oh my God. Yes, please. I don't care who the host spray tanner is, just pay for the spray tan because I'm sure you've seen it when these people do their own tans. 99.9% of the time, they are so, so, so light. It doesn't even look like they got a tan. And then most of the time, when that happens, if you mess up your tan or, if you mess it up or you can't have someone shine you up with oil, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because the host tanner can only really help the people that paid for that service.
Right.
So, I mean, when you get spray tanned, we cover everything. We get you for touch ups, shine, whatever you need. And even if like guys need their trunks glued in, we'll glue them in also. Girls, bikini bite, same thing. you always want to get spray tan. Spray tan's the best way to go. Um, it's always the best color. It's even. You have someone do it, and it's less stress on the competitor.
Yeah.
It's so much less stress. Just go there, get it done, walk away.
Yeah, I would say that's the best advice too.
It
From
really
from
is.
personal mistakes too.
Oh,
I
really?
Yeah, when I first started, I used to do the own shit where you fucking put it on the night before, you put it on twice, you wake up, you put it on again, and I mean, listen, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of times when I got it on really dark, but then it was still also patchy too in certain
Yep.
spots. Um, the biggest worst mistake ever, I listened to somebody's advice to go get somebody to fucking spray tan me, like, and it
Oh, like,
seemed yeah, it seemed okay until I was on stage, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. Um, but no, I would say yeah, getting it definitely spray
it's worth.
tanned.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the headache alone, like the headache
Yep.
alone. What if you fucking run out of the pro tan? What if something wrong with the pro tan?
Oh,
Like,
there's been times where we've had people who are doing their own tan, and they'll call us or contact us and be like, I don't know what to do. My DIY bottle just expired and now it's green.
yo, I seen that. The one kid that competed at the PA Muscle, and I was his friend there. They did a national show, and they literally couldn't do the national show because they're well, number one, they only bought two bottles. Like, I don't know why you're just buying two bottles for two people. That doesn't even make
Oh,
any sense.
yeah.
But even if they probably bought six, it would still be all the same thing.
Yeah.
But they were expired. It was fucking green.
Yep.
And then they were stuck. Then they were panicking. Then you have to get somebody to come spray tan them. They spray tan them. It was like it was only so dark you can get because it was like
Oh,
one of those show up thing. And so the tan destroyed everything for them. You
tan
could
is important on stage. It really is. And I think like we said, I know it can be a little bit pricey, but just invest in it. It's so worth it. It really
listen.
is.
If you're worried about $100 or $200 extra, and you've already spent 16 weeks of dieting, and a lot of you spent all this money on drugs and so forth, if you can't put up $200 for a spray tan, I
You're
don't think. Yeah, I don't think you should just be. I don't think this is something you should continue to do. Um, so, uh, so yeah, yeah. All right,
yeah.
Nikki. Well, that's really good news. And tips and everything. Especially like the colors, like that, like because that's even for me. Like that's good to know.
Mhm.
It's great to have a head NPC judge on the Aries team for
Thank
info. Not for cheating, but for information, of course. Duh. No, because we can basically reach out and be like, hey, listen, what do we expect at the show?
you.
How does this look? Should this be right? This things like that. Um,
Yeah.
and even with posing too, because it's in easier access. It's like, hey, look at her posing, look at the shape. How does this kind of just it's not how does it stack against anybody because you don't know anybody else, but how does it look if you've seen it on stage and where it's moving. So
Which is what I always tell my teammates on Aries. Like, if you, especially if you think I'm friendly with you, I
mhm,
want to help you. I
right.
want to go over posing with you, go over your presentation. Tell me what your bikini is, your trunks. Like, did you book your tanning? I want to help you.
Hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why I do love judging too, is because you really are you're giving back.
Yeah.
And and like even with the people on Aries, like my teammates, I want to be able to tell them, this is what they're looking for. This is what you got to do. So I try to help them in the best way that I can. Um, I will never ever cheat as a judge. I
Well,
love
no,
winning.
no. Listen, that's completely out of question. That
Yeah, no,
listen, that wouldn't even make sense because they would fucking know you cheated and then you would be thrown
exactly.
out. Like, come on.
Yeah, not gonna happen. No, but
Yes.
if I can help them any way possible, like I even tell them, like if I'm spray tanning, come see me when you get spray tan
Right.
because I'll serve you and let me see what you look like. Let's go over a couple things. So,
Mhm.
you know, of course I love to help them.
Yeah. Yeah. You're too nice, just for everybody.
Thank you.
And I mean everybody, like not just that. But you know what? You are nice, but if somebody fucks with you, you definitely, you definitely cut them off real quick, and
I know. Yeah.
let them know it's like a look first, and then if they
Hmm.
continue, and then the words start coming out afterwards. So
Pretty much. Yeah.
but Nikki, it was always a pleasure.
Thank
I'll
you.
talk to you real soon, and have a good night, and we'll catch up again next time with some other guests and stuff like that. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pat.
No problem. Good night.
Bye.